as well as other information about the assignment. If you are interested in editing the assignment, you select the assignment name. If you're interested in entering scores, or if that's the task you want to embark upon, click the edit, and it will give you a way to edit the assignment, as well as begin to score the assignment. Okay, there was a question in the chat about how to take attendance. So let's quickly go back to that. To do attendance, you simply select the PowerTeacher Pro icon in the upper left-hand portion, and then to do attendance, you select the chair. The chair is the single day attendance. So in the case of speech that occurs in period 1, to enter attendance, you simply click on the chair, and it brings up the attendance roster. So those are all the students enrolled in this section of this course, along with some of the alerts. Now, as you continue to explore and use functionality within PowerSchool, you'll notice that you will have evolving alerts. To mark an absence, you simply select the attendance code from the pop-up menu in the upper left portion and click in the white square next to the student's name. Once you've done the attendance for the entire course and section, click Submit. If everyone is present, simply click Submit anyway. Then you get a green circle indicating that the attendance has been taken. One final extension upon attendance. The rule about attendance is teachers can enter attendance and modify attendance as long as the office has not edited the attendance and/or comment. If the office has entered or edited the attendance, the teacher will be able to see it but cannot change it. So the office rules attendance. Returning back to PowerTeacher Pro. We're now looking at the assignment list for a course that occurs in the 1920 school year, and we're selected quarter 1. Let's examine some additional features related to an assignment. If you click on the assignment name, you get the score sheet. And listed below are all the students enrolled in that course and a space to enter an assignment. I've hidden some features in PowerTeacher Pro that and tried to make it look like you have what you will experience. For example, standards and citizenship and all those things I've removed. So it's going to be fairly straightforward. As you select a student's name, you may get a list of all of their assignments and the scores for this student. Returning back to the assignment list and select the assignment again, that gives me the entire roster. To enter a score, you simply select the score column, the cell in the row for a student. As you do that, a score inspector slides in from the right. And the score inspector gives you some additional navigation. If you want to go to the next student in the list, you have an angle pointing down, and you notice that it takes you to the next student listed in this class. The navigation on the right and left is if you had several assignments that you were scoring in conjunction with the traditional grade, you could navigate that way. But since we have only one assignment to score, the navigation for score would not be useful. Below that, you have an entry, and you'll see that you can enter whatever value is appropriate, either by using the keyboard or selecting the score pad, selecting the number. If you enter a number that exceeds the max and attempt to save the scores, it will give you an alert that says it cannot be larger than 10. So you simply just need to remove that and go back to what it was. So that's how to enter a score. You also, if you don't like to use the keypad, you can enter a score using the number keys on your keyboard if you have one. The reason we have a score inspector is for those individuals that you're using a tablet that we don't want the keyboard to slide up from the bottom and give you all the keys available and take up visual space. So the score inspector is always there. If you hide this, if you would like to hide the score inspector, there's this X in the upper left-hand corner. You can close that, and you can still enter scores if you would like. The score inspector is always going to slide in, unfortunately. That's how you can enter a score. Notice that you do have some a heading for this assignment. It has a title. We're scoring it on points with a maximum of 10. It's displaying an individual score, the individual that I selected. It's showing you the final score, the percent, and the score total out of the number possible. If you'd like to edit the assignment, there is a blue Edit Assignment link, and you can select that, and it prompts you to indicate that I have made some changes. What do I want to do with those changes? Well, I'll save and continue. And it brings up the assignment editor. When you select the assignment editor or you create a brand new assignment, there are certain fields that must be populated. You must have an assignment name, and there really is no limit to the assignment name. You can name it whatever you would like. All assignments must be associated with one and only one category. Your school district has created the categories for you, and so you can select a category at the time you create the assignment, or if you edit the assignment after the assignment has been created. You must also select a score type. Your choices are the four displayed there. Points, percents, letter grade are collected only. Then we get to an interesting area of an assignment where you can change the assignment by adding extra points or associating an assignment to a weighting. Extra points is if you permit extra credit beyond the maximum allowed points. So if I wanted to allow 2 extra credit points for those that went above and beyond the expectation of the assignment, I could add an extra point value of 2, meaning that my max entry could now be 12. Keep in mind the math behind this, that 10 is the point value possible, and 12 is the number of points that can be awarded. So if a student will receive 12 points for this assignment, the percentage would be 12 divided by 10, or 120%. It does not change the percent calculation. I'm going to remove extra points. And if you want to assign a weighting to this assignment, keep in mind there are several ways to weight things in PowerSchool and PowerTeacher Pro. You can choose to add an additional weighting. The score entry point maximum would be 10. And if you wanted this to be weighted at 3, the value associated to that assignment would be multiplied times the weighting of 3. So while you enter a 10, the result would be 30. And that would be also the points possible. Now, if you didn't want to do that, you could remove the weighting and simply change the points possible to 30 and accomplish the same thing. Below the extra points and weighting, there's the score preferences. You have a checkbox whether this assignment counts in a final grade calculation or not. You have a date due below that, and you have a calendar picker. All assignments must have a date due. My experience as a parent, as well as a person that's been doing PowerSchool trainings for a number of years, it's helpful if you enter the assignment at the time you make the assignment or make the assignment available to students, rather than on the day it was due. It gives students and parents a little more information about the assignment. Below the assignment preferences that we've just walked through above, you have a place for you to enter a description for this assignment. And you can add as much up to 4,000 characters. You have some formatting things, options in the header of the description, and you can embed links. So if you want to make a link to something, highlight the text, enter the text, highlight it, click on the chain icon, which is your link, and add your URL. Click OK, and that text then becomes a blue link. And anytime a student is, or parent or other individual is viewing this assignment, that link will present itself as a blue active link, and you can click on it and take you to something. So for example, if you were doing making an assignment that had a specific resource available to it, post the resource and link it to the assignment, and students could then access the assignment at any time. That's one page of an assignment. We also have at the top classes. So you may have noticed that when I logged in, I had 3 speech classes. If I wanted to apply the same assignment to all 3 speech classes, I could choose to select the angle pointing down in the near the top of this assignment editor, and I could choose to add the assignment to all sections of that same course. So at the time you add, click Save and Close, one assignment is applied to 3 or more classes. It tells you the name of the class as well as the expression. In PowerSchool, if you're unfamiliar with an expression, the number is the period of the day, and the letter is the day in a scheduled cycle. We happen to be viewing a school that has a 2-day scheduled cycle. Some courses alternate every other day, and that is designated as being an A day or a B day. If you have you have the power to change the letter designation if you'd like, but by default it's period and day. I'm going to click simply go back to where I was. So that's an assignment editor. At the time you're ready, you can save and close or save only, and you're taken back to the score sheet. So returning back to the assignment list, you'll see that there is a column that has category, and those categories are assigned to each school by the district office. And the reason that these categories are assigned by the district office is my understanding that you do assignment or category weighting. That's assignments that are associated to a test have a different weighting in the final grade calculation than an assignment that may be a class work or class project or homework. Let's examine the assignment list in greater detail. We're currently looking at the assignments in chronological order. And the reason we know it's in chronological order, it's actually in reverse chronological order, is that there's a triangle next to the date due that controls the order in which the assignments are listed. If you want to change it, you just simply point and click. Any one of the headings are also sort triggers. So if you want to look at the scored column and sort on that, you can do that. Score type. If continuing to examine the scored column in some detail, you'll notice that we have 28 divided by 28 with a green check. And that is the number of scores that have been entered is the numerator, and the number of scores possible, or number of students enrolled, is the denominator.
All right, it's working now.
Yes,
but
we hear you.
that
I just muted whoever joined.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you start over?
Unfortunately. Okay, continuing on. So you'll see that there are 27 out of 28 scores entered for assignment 3. It was due in 9/8, and it was points was the score, and it was max was 10. Above that, you'll see that we have page 40 plural possessive nouns, and we have a weighting. There were 25 points possible, and we have it weighted by 2. So you'll get snippets of information about the assignment in the score type column. Let's go about creating a brand new assignment and see how that all functions. So I'm going to select Create Assignment. You get a page that looks very much like the page we just saw with Edit, but all of the values are blank. You can start by selecting classes if you'd like, and I'm going to go ahead and select all speech classes. Close the window. Then I have to enter a new assignment. I must select a category, and I want to draw your attention to the score type and score entry points as I select a category. Categories come with default values. So if I select the category classwork, you'll see that the score type is a letter grade A through F in my school, and the point value is 25. If I change the category to project, I have a different point value, but the same score type. Quiz, same thing. And if I choose a test, again, it's the same, except the point values are different. If you do, to edit this, once a category has been assigned, you have options to edit. Default means what you start with, not how it must be. So I can choose points, and I can edit the points, change the count and final grade or not. Since I selected multiple courses, the due date now shows something different. Per class, if I select that, I can adjust the due date for each class. Well, we happen to be in an A day, and this course speech doesn't meet until tomorrow. So I could adjust the assignment due date to the 1st. If you want it to be a single due date, they all meet the same day. You want the assignment to be the same day, just simply select the assignment due date. So you can create an assignment, keeping in mind that this is only one of 3 tabs about an assignment that you may access. We're on the Assignment tab. If I select Students, I can add or remove students from this assignment. Currently, the assignment applies to all students enrolled in all sections of this course. If I select this Add/Remove Students, it gives me a listing of all students enrolled in any section of these courses, and I can remove a student from that assignment. So now Brandon Adair will never have this assignment display or calculate in his final grade. There are other ways you can exclude a student from an assignment, but the manifestation of the other ways is different. If I choose to remove the student from the assignment at the time I make the assignment, that assignment will never appear anywhere on that student's assignment detail. either in PowerSchool, on the app, or anything. Parents will never see it. Students will never see it. If I don't exclude Brandon from applying the assignment at the time I make the assignment, but do choose the flag to exclude the student from that assignment, the assignment will appear on the parent and student portal, but it will not be used in the calculation method or formula. You're not using standards, so you can skip over the standards tab, but you will think about publish. When you select publish, you have two choices. One is, when do you want to publish the assignment? Immediately means when you click save, that assignment will be displayed for all students that you have associated to that assignment. You can do it on a specific day, certain number of days before the due date, on the due date, or never. My rule is if you select never, you better not include it in the final grade calculation. Whether to publish the scores or not is controlled with this checkbox. You can enter the scores, have the scores calculated in a student's final grade, but not publish the scores. Now, the disadvantage of that is a student may not be able to determine why they have the grade they have if you don't publish the scores. So once you've addressed whatever features of the assignment, students, and publish that are appropriate for that assignment, you click Save and Close or Save, either one. If you're quick, you'll have a green score assignment banner. And if you select that, you have a blank class roster. And now with a score type entered, or a column, then you can begin to enter scores for this student. One of the features of entering a score, as we saw earlier, you can use the score pad on the score inspector, or you can enter a score from the keyboard. I'm going to go ahead and enter a few scores, and let's just say that Richie and, oh my golly. I made a mistake, I'm sorry. Didn't get my finger off the keyboard. I'm going to enter a few scores just to show you how the score. My fingers don't work today, sorry. I've entered 3 scores. And now let's assume that in this case, all their students have received a score of 10. I can select the student who has received the score of 10, enter a 10, and now I have on the far right-hand side in the score inspector, below the score pad, you have a vertical fill. Vertical fill is a function within PowerTeacher Pro that allows you to fill all empty cells with a common value. So I have 10 selected. If I want to fill a 10 in the remaining empty assignments, I click vertical fill. All 24 remaining scores now have a 10 entered. If I like that, I click OK. If not, I click undo. I'm going to click OK. And you'll see that we now have every score entered. Surrounding some scores is a tan border. The tan border is your clue that those scores have been entered since the last time you saved it. So to remove the tan border, you simply click Save Scores. And the score sheet returns and the brown or tan border is gone. PowerTeacher Pro will prompt you to save or discard any changes as you attempt to navigate away from the score pad or score sheet. Okay. Let's return to the assignment list. You'll now see that that assignment has been added and 28 out of 28 values have been entered. The point value was a maximum of 25. Unfortunately, I entered score values based upon a score of 10. So you'll notice that as I select an individual student, their score now is an F at 36%. Well, if that was not the intention, if you wanted to change it to 10, you can now select Edit the Assignment, change the point value to 10, save and close. I want to keep the scores. This is a prompt that says I can adjust the scores based upon the percentage that I now have, or I can keep the scores as they were entered. I'm going to choose Keep the Scores. And you'll see that the final grade has now been converted to be 9 out of 10 rather than 9 out of 25. If you do that and the score is not updated, one of the gears that you now have, you should be able to recalculate scores. Oh, I'm sorry, that's on the final grade. You can show metrics. The show of the metrics tells you the mean, median, and mode. You can show the final grade calculation formula or grade scale that's applied to this course. You also can hide the metrics. I'm no longer showing the individual or the measures of central tendency. You can export a scores template, and that's a feature function we'll look at in some detail later on as we create another new assignment. It is a way in which you can export the template to Excel, enter the scores in Excel, and then import them at a later time or some other time. I'm going to hide that. If you would like to change from this mode without having to go back to the score sheet, I can select the arrow pointing or the triangle or angle pointing down and select a different assignment. Now, this assignment has some codes associated to it. Here's a purple slash, and if you select that, the score inspector shows that this student has been exempt from this assignment. These are called flags. So below the score pad, you have a series of flags, as well as two functions. For this student, Brandon Adair, he has been exempt from this assignment. The assignment would appear, and it would indicate this with using this icon that this student has been exempt. If a student has a score value entered, but it is incomplete, you can add incomplete. And you'll see that there is an icon below the 6. Incomplete with a value would indicate that you're going to accept future work. If the student has no score and incomplete, that's fine. You can also code it as being missing. The missing flag would be useful in other functions within in reporting functions within PowerSchedule or PowerTeacher Pro. You can find all assignments that a student has been flagged as being missing, late, or incomplete. Any one of those three will automatically be tabulated or counted. If a student is indicated as being missing, but they eventually turn it in, you can enter a score value, and it still retains the missing flag with a score value, meaning that at one time it was missing. You can save the scores, and those new scores are automatically calculated in a student's final grade. We had a question chatted about, is there a way to send a push notification to students? Who is falling below a certain threshold? There's not a way to push that value to students, but there's a way to report it. We'll show that later as we get to reports. Okay, you'll see there's another icon. This means that the student was absent on the day it was collected, and it's been flagged as being absent, and later they turned it in. PowerTeacher Pro automatically calculates a final grade based upon the values that are entered in a score column. So if this student has a missing assignment with no value associated to it, the student's final grade would not be impacted. That's kind of an interesting conversation you'll have. How do you handle that? If Richie didn't do the assignment and it's missing, I can flag it as being missing, but it will not impact his final grade. If you want it to impact his final grade, you can enter a score value, and that score value will be included in the calculation of a student's final grade. So let's look at Richie currently. Let's save these scores. And I'm going to go back. I'm going to select Richie's name. And you'll see that he has now a current grade of a C- on this assignment. Let me go back to students. Let's go to the score sheet. I'm looking at now, I chose grading, score sheet. This brings in all current assignments for the selected term. There's Richie Anderson. He has a C- at 72%. And we did the math of 10 plus 8 plus 77 plus 7. That'll give us a 72. If I change his score for that missing assignment to be 0 and click Save, you'll see his assignment, his final grade is now an F at 44%. So a blank value is not included in the final grade calculation. Any value other than blank is included. Even though the assignment is missing. So while we're on the score sheet, let's look at some features of the score sheet. We're looking at one specific, we happen to be looking at one specific assignment, but we're actually showing, and that's triggered by the column we're in. If I select a different assignment, go to this assignment, you'll see this, it pulls up the individual assignment. Again, navigating to the score sheet is selecting the grading charm and selecting the score sheet. Listing of all students in alphabetical order. Then the second column next to it is the current final grade and in our school, we're showing the final grade and the percentage. We don't happen to be showing the points awarded divided by points possible. Then you have a listing of all assignments within this term. If you want to view a different term, it's simply select a different term. You'll see all the assignments in semester 1, and the grade is changed dynamically. Go back to quarter 1. You'll see that the court calculation type is category weighting. That's something that your school district has chosen to do. So all of the final grades are based upon the category weighting formula, which we'll look at in just a bit. Back to the assignment charm or the grading charm. Let's look at categories. In the category list that you'll have available to you in your school, you'll see the categories and they'll have a color associated with it, as well as the category name. And you'll also have a schoolhouse next to the category. The schoolhouse icon it indicates that this is a district-created category, and it is active and applied to all classes. A district category you cannot edit. Man, I apologize. You have an edit button, and it brings up an edit classwork category, but you can't really change any values. You notice that you can, though, change some features of the assignment defaults. So if you select assignment defaults in the tab, you can add, jeez, I apologize, my fingers. If you wanted to change the score type, you could change it to points, adjust the default score entry points, as well as the remaining 3 options that you have, and click Save. That will not change any assignments that have already been associated to that category. It will only change assignments default values at the time you create a new assignment. You can make a category active or inactive. Keep in mind that since you're doing category weighting, all of the categories are possible to include in the final grade calculation. If a student has no tests, no assignments in a test category, and tests are weighted at 40%, that's going to impact the student's final grade. Now you may recall that in some cases, in some schools, you have the option of creating a new category. That won't be applicable to Gadsden because category weighting is a formula type. If you added a new category, and on the category list, you'll see that homework has been added. There's no way to include homework in the final grade calculation. You can add it as long as the score type is collected only. That it would be entered, you would say yes or no with a check box, and it would indicate that the student did submit that assignment for review or completed it. So that's categories. Returning back to the grading charm, related to the score sheet, now it's the traditional grade in the grades column. And this is where you will see the current grade for the selected term. If you're a school, I didn't go to this detail, but if your school allows the awarding of variable credit and citizenship, they'll be displayed. Attendance, a tally of attendance, absences, and tardies will be displayed there in those 2 columns. And then assignments, missing, late, and incomplete. You'll see that Richie Anderson, we have flagged 1 assignment as being missing. And I'll show you the tally. One of the features that you'll be asked to do as you near the end of a reporting term is to verify the completeness and accuracy of final grades and comments. Well, to verify, you can simply scan this list. If that is what you would like to have entered as a final grade and reported as a final grade for this term, you don't need to do any editing beyond that point. If for some reason you want to override the calculated final grade, you can point to the student's final grade and click. It brings in the score inspector for this quarter, and it'll say that Brandon did better than expected, so I can change the C minus to a C. You'll notice that the original value was a C minus, is always displayed. You also have another display indicating that the teacher has overridden the calculated final grade. That's the triangle in the upper left-hand corner. And you could enter in whatever final grade you would like. And you also have the triangle displayed there. Those triangles are displayed for everyone who has access to Brandon Adair's final grade. You can also add a comment. In the score inspector, you have a small window at the bottom where you can enter a comment. You're allowed roughly 2,040 or 2,050 characters. In our school, that's a feature that's set by the district office and controlled by the school about how many characters are permitted. You'll just continue to enter in whatever character, whatever text you want until you exceed or meet the limitation. Comments that are displayed here would be and could be on a report card. You'll notice that since I've entered text in the comment space, for this student, I now have a blue icon for the comment, indicating that there is a comment. I also have the fill option available to me. So if I want to fill this, all students with the same comment, I can choose the vertical fill, choose comments only, and all students have the same comment entered with a nice little blue icon. I'm going to undo that. Show you an additional feature of the fill function. I'm going to enter the student's name. This is a comment for this student, Brandon Adair. If I choose fill, comments only, it's going to notice that I used the student's first name. If I want to fill all of the comments and include the student's first name from the student demographic record, I can use what is called the smart text. It's included in less than and greater than signs. I use smart text and all 27 remaining comments. I'm going to save, click OK. So a student, if I select this student, you'll notice that it has Christopher instead of Brandon. Once you have all the comments entered and you verified that the final grades are accurate, the bottom portion on the right-hand side, you have a final grade status button. This is a way that the teacher can notify school administration that this section of this course has had its final grades and comments completed. To make that indication, the teacher simply clicks on final grade status. A window appears in which they check the box indicating that the final grades and comments are complete. You can enter whatever text you would like, up to 200 characters. Click Save, and the final grade status is now has a green check in front of it. And that green check and comment is visible in the school administration office. They can run a report called Section Readiness before they store final grades. So that's a way in which you can verify the completeness and accuracy of final grades. There's another way. If I choose a different grading menu item under the grading charm, let's say I choose comment verification. I'm going to discard these changes. You'll see that now you have the final grade and a comment space. This is a way in which you can enter, and it can expedite the entry of comments for a class roster. Simply point and click. The comment inspector shows, or actually the score inspector shows up with, again, giving you the space to enter a comment. Another feature of the score inspector is, since we're focused upon comments, we really don't care about this portion of the inspector. We have two tabs, they're kind of invisible tabs. You have the score inspector tab, and then you have what is called the comment inspector tab. If you're focused upon comments near the end of a term, you might want to select the comment inspector. This makes the window quite a bit larger. It still has the same restriction of how many characters, but you also have something called a comment bank. If you would like to show the comment bank, you simply click that. And if your district has created comment bank items and made them available to you, you simply can add a comment by clicking plus, and you'll see that it's entered in the comment space. You can add whatever comments you would like. Currently, we have set the comment inspector to display comments in a list format. I don't like that. If you prefer a paragraph style, there's a gear, the now displayed, and you can say, I want my comments to be separated by spaces rather than line breaks. Close the inspector, and now if I choose that, it displays more of a narrative or paragraph form. Since these are simply not real statements, they're just comments, if you would like to edit this, you certainly can. Once you have a comment entered, you can hide the comment bank and edit it. Occasionally demonstrates leadership skills. Whatever qualifier or additional comment you like, notice that you still have the restriction upon that. If you want to enter in smart text, you can do that. I'm just going to do it manually. If I put first underscore name and those between those two icons or characters, it will include the student's first name in the comment. You can clear the comment and start all over. You may have noticed in the comment bank, there are two kinds of comment banks that you can view. The district comment bank, as well as if your school permits the option of including your own personal comments, you can select that. Since we don't have any comments yet created from my account, I have a blue manage comments, and this would be a way for you to enter your own comments. Click add, and there are certain features about the comment that are required. For example, you must have a code. A code is simply whatever you would like it to be. Let's do behavior. BEH. Is it among your favorites? Do you want to include comments or smart text? And whatever the comment is going to be. Here are the options to include as a smart text. You can do first name or last name, comma, first name space last name, first, last, he, she, uppercase he, she, his, her, uppercase his, her, son, daughter, whatever you would like to add as smart text. Smart text is the feature that you insert the code. PowerSchool recognizes it as a trigger to pull information from within PowerSchool and display it for each student uniquely. Add whatever your comment is. Click Save, and you now have a comment. You have access to the district comments. If you'd like to make some comments a favorite, you can click the star in front of the favorite in the favorite column. Then as you add comments to the comment bank, you can, or use comments, you can filter that. So if I go back to grading, comment verification, now that I have a comment added, click on there, select the comment inspector, go to the comment bank, you'll see there's my first comment. It's among my favorites. If I want to select the district comments, I can filter on favorites. Notice that this is now a sorting. If you want to see filtered on the, if you want to sort on the filtered column, click on favorites. If you want to filter, maybe you want to filter on behavior. So I had a code of BEH. There they are. These comments that are entered do appear on a report card. They do not, and they also appear in the student and parent portal as well as the admin portal. Once you have that completed, click Save. It'll save whatever comment, and off you go. Category totals is another way of looking at grades. And given your category formula, it will display the categories that your district has provided, as well as the score in each of the final grade in each of the categories. You'll see that this student had a B+, Christopher Allred had a B+ in classwork, A- in tests, and has an A- in overall grade, because tests are calculated at a higher value than classwork. It automatically calculates that based upon the category associated to assignments. Back to the grading charm, all reporting terms will show you all the reporting terms. Same list as you see displayed under the term selector. It highlights the current term in a tan color. You can edit whatever column you would like. As you continue on throughout your year, you'll notice that this may be helpful to you. So that's the grading charm. Assignment list all the way down to reporting terms. The student's charm gives you a way to view information about specific students or selected students. I've selected the student's charm. I'm going to look at assignments for that student. So Richie was the highlighted student, and I'm looking at the assignments for Richie. If you want to view a different way of different information, you can select the comment log. This is an assignment-specific comment. We were looking at comments previously about the final grade comments. Those are the ones on report cards. This is an assignment-specific comment. If you want to add a comment for a specific assignment, you do that on the grading assignment or on the score sheet. Select the assignment, and now you have an assignment comment window. Click Save. That assignment comment will be saved. The difference between the two is final grade or course grade comments, report cards. Assignment-specific comments, not on a report card, but are available to view by students, parents, teachers, and other admin users in each of their respective portals. They can see the comment, they just will not be reported. Another view for students is demographics. Demographics is simply a listing of information about the individual student. So you'll see the name, address, home phone, other contact information pulled from within PowerSchool. Notice that this is a view only. You cannot edit this. You do have one link, which is to the Guardian email. You may or may not have that available in your PowerTeacher Pro. This is a blue link. If you were using client-based email, you could click on the blue link and it will automatically address an email for you. If you want to send an email, copy and send. Quick lookup traditional. If you look at quick lookup, traditional means traditional grades. So this is the view that parents, students, other teachers, and admin users will see about an individual student. You'll remember that I made a comment about Brandon Adair's C-. If I had, it would display here. And you'll see I made a comment about his plural possessive. There's a blue speech bubble. You want to view it, click View. And there's the comment that was added for that assignment. That was quick lookup. PowerTeacher Portal was just a link back to PowerTeacher where you could do attendance if you would like. So that's you want to navigate to a different student. You can view all students or filter based upon the course that a student is enrolled in, or you can filter or search. So if you want to find a DARE, just begin typing the student's last name and it pulls up that individual student. If you want to select another student from the list, just simply select the name of the student and it takes you to the last screen you viewed. If you want to view a different screen, you have an assignment. There's the assignments for that student. Same way we saw it before. If a student has been dropped from your class, but you want to have access to their information, you have the ability to show dropped, and then any student will also, their name will be displayed on the left-hand side. You also have a show dropped here as well. Okay. I'm going to return back to our assignment list. There are a couple of things that we want to make sure that we understand about an assignment. I'm going to make a new assignment. There's my second assignment. I'm going to select classwork, do whatever, leave the default values. I'm just going to make that assignment to one course. I'm going to save and close. There's my second assignment. I don't want to begin scoring it. Inadvertently, I applied that assignment to only one section of speech. And now, in retrospect, I wish I had added additional courses to that assignment. There are a couple of ways that you can do that. One is you can click on the edit icon on the left-hand column and go back to assignment, classes, select classes, and select other classes. There's another way. Another way is to duplicate the assignment, and you've created a second version of the same assignment, but it's now called my second assignment -1. Maybe I rename it to be my third assignment and click save and close. So now we have a series of assignments that have the same values as the defaults, as well as on the list with a unique name. You can also copy assignments from one section and term to another. I want to select copy assignments from the gear. And this is now from which class, from which term. So you select the term. You'll notice you have semester 1, semester 2. That's from, so semester 2 doesn't make sense. Go from semester 1, select the class. I'll select speech 1A. I want to copy it to semester 2 to speech 1B. If it were in the same term, I could do the same thing. I can make the due dates relational, which means that it would automatically calculate the number of days into the term, the due date, and apply that value to the new, the assignment in the new term. I can select a specific category and click save, and that assignment will be applied to the new section and term. That's the gear on the assignment list. So now let's go to my second assignment. I have no scores created or entered. Let's explore the possibility and the function of exporting and importing. So you select the assignment and you can export a scores template. The template is designed to be used by a spreadsheet application. Most of the time you use it in Excel. Google Docs would also work, but you have to import it into Google Docs, enter your values, export it. It gets a little cumbersome. I'm going to choose export a report score template. It saves it to my default downloads location. So here it is as a pst.cvs. So it has the leading part of the assignment, name. It has an underscore.pst. PST stands for Power School Template, and CSV means it's comma separated values. I want to open this in Excel, so I'm simply going to drop it on top of Excel, and there's the score template. I can edit whatever values I would like. It has the header information with a column to enter score values. So if I wanted to, I could begin to enter scores in Excel, do whatever makes sense. If I want to fill down, you do the fill down in Excel. Click Save once you've entered those values. So this file is called my second assignment _pst.csv. You have to know where that's located and what it's named. It's saved. I quit Excel. I return back to PowerTeacher Pro. Select this same assignment from the gear icon. I select import scores. I need to then select to browse files. It's in my downloads location. I still left it there. There's the file. Choose. It is a Power School score template. The other options you have are comma separated values or tab delimited values. If you create your own template, you can do that. Do you want to validate it on student names? Well, it would make sense to validate on student names, so that's the default. That ensures the alignment between the scores and names. Click New or Next. It will not import these values. It gives you a preview because those are the header, but each of the students' scores are accurate. This is the value that is coming from the Excel spreadsheet. This is the value that will be displayed in PowerSchool. Click Import, and all those scores are now entered and saved. So if you want to work offline, you can do it in that manner. Export the template and add the scores, and then when you have access to PowerTeacher Pro, you can enter the scores, import the scores. So we've done categories, comments, final grade status, final grade calculations, export, import, copy assignments, categories we did. Let's talk a little bit about the other items underneath each of the charms. One way for you to monitor the progress of students is a progress charm. And we're viewing traditional grade progress only. The traditional grade progress, the initial display is a bar chart by threshold of risk. And those color coding bands are set up by the district office and by your school. The top darkest green indicates that you have 3 students in this course, speech, in quarter 1. They're doing exceedingly well. 8 students that are doing well, 13 students that are kind of okay, 4 students that are less than kind of okay. If you would like to know more information about that, you can click on the eye. and it pulls up the color coding. All that's set up for you. If you want to view individual values associated to that color coding, select the View All link below the bar graph. And you're now looking at Q1, and you have at the top of the list those students who are at risk, at most risk, and then students that are at some risk, all the way down to students that are at limited or no risk whatsoever. And we're comparing Q1 to Q1, which makes sense. As it continues on, and you're working in Q2, you can compare Q2 to Q1, and you also have a trend indicator. To manage that trend indicator and comparators, you select the gear icon to show whatever values you want, as well as compare the current trend with a past trend. To select any student, you would need to go back to the student score sheet. Close the window by X. Then you have the missing, late, and incomplete tallies. If you want to see who the 5 students are that have missing assignments, you can click on any of that icons, and it displays the students and in the missing column. It shows you all of the columns. You'll recognize this as the traditional grade score sheet or traditional grade under grading. It's the same page. That's progress, traditional. So as you near the end of the term, or as you're getting ready to, or wanting to provide some intervention, this is a way for you to identify the students who are at greatest risk. Let's skip over reports for now and go to settings. And the reason we want to go to settings is to begin to think about various options that are available to you. Display settings are the first. You can change the way in which your courses are listed by period and day, section number, however they're listed on that term selector. You can show traditional grades or hide. That's really the only option you have. Values to show in the traditional grade, you can show grade, percent, and or points. You're not doing standards at all, so you'll leave that blank. And then as you continue down, you have the option of how to display a student's name on the score sheet, as well as how to sort them. So your options for display, as well as how to sort. Then you have 2 choices below that. Students who are newly enrolled in a section of a course, you want them displayed at the bottom. By default, they will be inserted alphabetically. The second option is to hide pre-registered students. If a family appeared to your school today and indicated that they would be arriving on Monday for enrollment and attendance, the school could actually enter the student record and schedule, and you could choose to display or hide them until Monday. That's what the display settings are all about. Let's go back to settings, class description. This is a way for you to add information about the content of this course. If you have a course syllabus and you want to add some parts of that to the class display or description, you can copy and paste it. You have 4,000 characters as a maximum value. So if you want to add additional information about how things are operated within the section of this class, you can do so. If you're copying and pasting from Word, we have a link, an icon that allows you to do that. And the reason that we do that is because Word includes some hidden information that doesn't play well with with HTML coding. So if you have text that you want to paste from Word, do that, click OK, and it's pasted from Word. Strips off the extraneous stuff. If you'd like to give a section a different name, you can change the name. Again, you have some formatting icons above there. Once you have one done, you can go to the next one, do the same thing. Unfortunately, there is not a way to copy between the two other than selecting the text and copying and pasting. You may be wondering what value is there. If you recall, we went to the quick lookup traditional. And if you select the course grade, you have section description. When you add that class description, that is displayed for all users who have access to a student's record. Comment bank, this is another way for you to access your own personal comment bank. You can add or edit. Student grade scales, if your school permits the use of student-specific grade scales. One of the questions that was posted to the chat was about ELL or special ed. If a student has a specific grade scale assigned to them because of their participation in special ed or ELL, you can assign a student's grade scale, a student-specific grade scale. That's a feature that you may or may not have available to you. Traditional grade calculations. This is something that I've done for Q1 and Q1 only. When you access it in your own PowerTeacher gradebook, PowerTeacher Pro gradebook, you will see category weighting and the formula types that have been assigned by the district office. The reason I only did Q1 is because we're currently in Q1 and I have a training tomorrow which we're going to not have assigned by district. If you want to view the calculation formula, click on the pencil. And you can see that in my school, class work is valued at 10% all the way down to tests at 40%. So I've assigned 4 categories with a specific weighting for each of the categories, ensuring that the totaling of the percent is 100. I could have done 1, 2, 3, 4, but I do it by percent. You can ignore this calculation type about standards. Notice that these are non-editable. Drop low scores. This is a feature that I did not talk with Yvonne about, but if your district permits you to edit this value, you can enable, and it has that function enabled, you can drop low scores. So if a student has 10 scores, you can identify how many of the lowest scores can be excluded from a student's current final grade calculation. I've assigned none and restricted it. And anytime you see the school icon, that means it's controlled by the school district and/or school. That's the last setting we have. Let's begin to think about reports. As I understand, we have about 25 to 30 minutes left. If that's inaccurate, Yvonne, send me a chat and I'll use whatever time we have remaining. Let's go to reports. When you select the reports charm, you have several score sheet type reports that you can access from within the gradebook. These reports are different than the reports you have in PowerTeacher. Don't be confused at all. So individual student report is the first report we're going to explore. When you select that, you can edit the name. I'm going to leave it reported as the same. So we'll be able to clarify it. Then you have other preference settings that you can select. or assign. I'm currently going to look at only one class, and that's my speech class. That's because it is selected in the course term selector. If I had selected a different course and then went to reports, individual student report, that's the class that would have been selected. I can add additional classes if I'd like by choosing the toggle for select classes and select whatever classes you would like. If I had entered the custom class name on the school or on the class description page, I could choose to use that. We're going to skip over students' full schedule for the current time and only think about other things. Do you want the report separated by section, by student? Yes, we do. We're going to separate it by section and then by student. How do I want it sorted? I want to sort it by section, then student. Since we're only doing one section, it's going to be in alphabetical order by student's last name because it is displaying that. How do I want to list the assignments? Due date with the newest first, so it'll be in reverse chronological order. Or I can choose whatever other option is appropriate. Then what data do I want to include? Do I want to include the final grade comments? We're not going to include standards, so I'll deselect that, but I do want to include assignments. Then selecting percentages and assignments with no data. Do you want to include the student number with the student name? You choose whatever values that makes sense. So the date range now, you can apply it for all assignments within the current reporting term, or you can select other reporting terms. The date range the assignment date range is going to be for Q1, and the reporting term is Q1. Now, the only reason you would leave all these values as Q1 is because we're currently in Q1. If we were reporting from semester 2, we would select then either semester 1, we could either select Q1 and 2, or Q2 only, or semester 1 only. Then how do you want to filter assignments? Your choices are, I want to see missing, late, incomplete. You can choose whatever options are appropriate. I'm going down this scenario that I want to provide this as kind of a progress report for a student. So if they have any missing or late assignments and I would like to give them the option of turning those in, I'll provide that list to them. Here's where you can filter scores. So you can assign a grade range or a percent range or a color level range or specific grades. If I do percent range, I can establish a minimum and a maximum. Maybe I want to find any student who is below 75% in any category on any course grade. I have tab 1 selected. Then you can go to the next one, next tab, and you select students. Like this too, you can add or remove students. So if you have a specific student you want to write or produce this report for, click add or remove students and deselect or select the student's name as appropriate. Then you can select format. And by selecting format, you get some obviously formatting choices. The orientation, landscape or portrait. Output, this report only allows PDF. The other report output type that you have is Excel. But for this report, we only have PDF. Page break, do you want to exclude row shading? Do you want to include a top note? I can include that. I type the note, include, and if you want to make it bold, you can make it bold. You want to include a bottom note. Maybe you want to have signed by with a line. Even better is a signature line. So if you don't like that approach, you can choose to include a signature line, which would would display a space for the person who has received this report to sign and date. So I'm finished with all three tabs. I have it set like I'd like. I click Run Report. Run Report produces it and sends it to my report queue. Now you see I have a notification. So to get access to my report queue, to actually see the report, select the notification with a red circle of a 1. There's the individual student report. To view it, you simply click on the name of the report. It downloads to your default downloads location. My browser allows me to select that. Click. It downloaded it as a zip file. I double click. Here's my individual student report list. And now you see that we have a report for an individual student, the teacher name, the current final grade. He has no missing or late assignments. Here are his category summaries with a signature line. Go to the next page, you'll see Christopher Allred. Continue on, we'll find Richie Anderson, who has an incomplete assignment. I thought I must not have saved it. If he had an incomplete or missing assignment, it would be displayed in this area here. So this is intended to be a kind of a progress report, in effect. Once it's displayed in a PDF reader, you could print this or print selected pages and have that sent home with a student. So you don't have to wait for a specific time to do a progress report. Teachers now have the ability to do those at any time. When you're finished with it, you can simply close it and return back to PowerTeacher Pro. Then go to reports again, individual student report. And if I wanted to, I can include the student's full schedule. That's the one feature we'll change. Click View Reports. I'm sorry. That's another way of getting to the same thing. I can run the report. I missed it. So I cannot do a full schedule for multiple students. So in order to run this individual student's full schedule, I have to select only one student at a time. So let's do Brandon Adair. Run the report now, and it's in the same place. So if I want to view my reports list, I now have 2 of them called the same thing. You notice that we have a date and time stamp. So I wanted to view this individual student report. Same process, default downloads location. There it is. Open it. And here's the Brandon Adair's full schedule. So if I were his homeroom teacher, I could view his progress report for multiple courses. So we first saw speech, there's current affairs, there's open media. These are all the courses that that student is enrolled in. And let's go to the second report listed. It's called the multifunction assignment report. This would be sorted by course, not by student. So I'm going to leave the criteria the same, except I'm now going to select additional courses. I'll select them all. Leave everything else as it was. Format. Again, my only choice is PDF. I don't have this signature line because this is not intended to be a report that you would just share with families. Click Run Reports. It's too large because I have too many sections selected. So return to criteria and remove all other classes, and maybe I would just do 2. Click Run Reports. It's now in the queue. Again, select your report queue. Here's the multifunction report. Downloads location. Open this one. And now for speech, this is the course. This is the teacher's way of viewing the course or class roster with assignments. So it's sorted by assignments or categories. Actually, this is a test. Then we went to the next assignment, which was homework or assignment. And you continue on looking at it, assignment sorted score sheets. Okay, close that, return to reports. Then you have a score sheet report. If you don't like to verify the completeness and accuracy of final grades online, you can produce what is called a score sheet. And the same options are available. With the change that now on a score sheet, you have Excel as a possibility. So if you want to produce this as an Excel template, you can do that. The thing that you need to keep in mind is, even if your output is Excel, you cannot import a final grade. So I'm going to leave it as PDF. Click Run Report. Click View Reports. There's my section score sheet. Downloads location. There's a score sheet for all students and all assignments in this selected course. Last report we'll look at is the student roster. Student roster is a way for teachers to produce a listing of students enrolled in a section of a course. No longer do teachers need to go to the office and say, I want to copy my class list. All they have to do is open up PowerTeacher Pro, get to the grade book, and they can produce their own class roster. I'm going to select the one course. I want students sorted by last name, and now I can add columns. By default, the student name column is included. To add additional columns, you can add the course name, their date of birth, let's say birthday, and then I want to add probably not grade level. You can add mother's name, father's name, home phone, and let's say we want to add a couple of blank columns. I can click some blank columns. You notice they have 2 blank columns. I can give this a specific name, a custom name. Once you have that configured as you'd like, click Run Reports. It's now in your report queue. View Reports, there's the student roster. Click Downloads Location. There we have the student's name, birthday, gender, mother, father, phone, custom field 1, custom column 2. You don't get formatting control over this other than the order in which the columns are arranged. So if you have a need to format it differently than the PDF, your output type would be Excel, and then you can format it within Excel. Those are reports that are specific to PowerTeacher Gradebook. One thing you may want to keep in mind is this note at the bottom that completed and canceled jobs will automatically be removed after 90 days or whatever your school has set. So PowerSchool and PowerTeacher Pro is not intended to be an archive of reports forever. They will automatically be deleted after they have expired. If, for example, you want to delete some, there's a little trash can. You click the delete and you confirm that you do want to delete that. The reason we give you the confirm is because there's no undo. Oops, I want it back. Once you click confirm, it's gone, and you would have to rerun that report as you would like. The I beside each of the reports give you specific information, as well as the possibility to resubmit the report. So that's PowerTeacher Gradebook, PowerTeacher Pro Gradebook in a nutshell. I know you may have some specific questions, and the conversation we had with Yvonne was to run those questions through your administration, and they can be resolved by Yvonne. I have several comments that have been chatted to me so far. First of all, PowerTeacher Pro, the gradebook, is what is called responsive design. That means that you can access all the features and functionalities of PowerTeacher Pro on any one of the internet-enabled devices, be that a desktop computer, a laptop computer, a tablet, and or phone. You can do all of the things that we just explored on any of those devices, with the exception of downloading reports to a phone or a tablet, because they don't have a default location to store that. So that would be the one feature that you would not be able to do. The difference in display among the internet-enabled devices is all about how much screen space do you have. So it will, when you launch PowerTeacher Pro Gradebook, the gradebook actually senses the device type that you're accessing it with and adjusts the display in response to the device type. So you can use whatever device you would like. Another feature of PowerTeacher Pro, the gradebook, is other users can be given access to view your gradebook. So teachers can view their own gradebook, as well as principals, assistant principals, and the data clerk. They're given read-only access to your gradebook. They can view, but they cannot edit or save. All of that is the responsibility of teachers. The gradebook will look exactly the same with one small change. The change will be when you look at an assignment or any feature within there, there'll be an amber alert displayed as a banner that you're viewing this, you're accessing this in a view-only mode. So no changes can be made by, they can be temporarily made, but they cannot be permanently saved. There's also the functionality of locking the gradebook by administration, by school administration. Prior to the end of a term, you will receive a notification that you have so many days left to edit and finalize assignments and scores within a reporting term. So many days after the end of the reporting term, your gradebook will be locked. Locked means no new assignments and no new or editing of scores. If after the gradebook has been locked, a teacher needs to have access to the gradebook, that's something that we have to work out with school administration and or Yvonne. So you'll need to talk with someone who has access to that function, controlling of that functionality. So we have a question from Anthony Elementary that they want to know How can you review how assignments are organized under different subjects for elementary teachers? So the way in which this would work is, as you're looking at an assignment list, each of these courses will be listed under the course term selector. So you'll see that in the case that we're displaying for this high school teacher, they have multiple sections of different courses. I used to be an elementary teacher many years ago, and it's very common that you, in elementary schools, you have self-contained, what I call self-contained, where I taught math, reading, language arts, science, social studies, all of those things. You would have a course listed for all the content that you're providing instruction for. To add an assignment to one of those courses, you would select the course term selector and select the name of the course. And then you would enter assignments for that course. That list is different than the home ec list. So I can go to that list and you'll see I have a different set of assignments. Each elementary teacher will have a listing of all of the courses that they are assigned to teach and make assignments and enter scores for under the course term selector. One other feature you want to make sure that you attend to is add the assignment and the score to the correct term. So now these are scheduling terms. And on the right hand side, you have reporting terms. I need to close my chat window. So here's the reporting terms. So it would be very typical in an elementary school that you would have year-long classes only, but you may have reporting terms by quarter, trimester, semester, whatever reporting term you would like to have. Ensure that the assignments are in the correct reporting term. So I'm looking at semester 1. If I select quarter 1, you'll see my assignment list has changed. All assignments and scores that were entered in Q1 will appear on a student's Q1 report card. When you change to quarter 2, you have another unique set of assignments and scores. The final grade for Q2 will be displayed on the Q2 report card. I don't know if that answers the question, but that's initial thoughts about it. Let me make sure we've covered everything. The alert timer for adding a grade. Yeah, I think that we did that. ELL. Other questions? Yvonne? Okay. No questions. Thank you very much. I was kind of indicated that the 2 hours was kind of the limit. I know you've been very patient with me in the technical issues that we initially started with. I appreciate that. Appreciate your attendance today. And if you have questions, please let me know. I think Yvonne has a couple of documents that she may forward to you. One is called the PowerTeacher Pro Gradebook Quick Reference Card. That gives you highlights about the content that we explored today, and it can be printed or used online. There's also a user guide for PowerTeacher Pro Gradebook, and that gives you more detailed information. I think it's about it's about 75 pages long. That's more in depth than you probably are wanting to do today. Yvonne, if you can think of something else that we need to do, great. Portions of this have been, this has been recorded and there will be a link provided to you for this recording, and you can review this information at a later time. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time. And well, good luck and have a great 2019-2020 school year. Thank you.